Hello, and welcome to the Market Bull podcast. Please note, topics and stocks discussed in this podcast are not financial or investment advice. On today's episode, I spoke with Idan Schmorak, the CEO of UNITH, which is a listed company on the Australian Stock Exchange under code UNT. UNITH is focused on developing its conversational artificial intelligence digital human talking heads. The focus is on the AI conversational capabilities for clients, enabling them to automate customer service, marketing, sales, and education with interactive audio and visual elements. Idan discussed how he became involved in UNITH and the current focus he has on overhauling the company as it embarks on its rebranding process. We talked about the rise of this technology through access to OpenAI and ChatGPT with its versions. Idan discussed how UNITH is developing, testing, and implementing its products for businesses. He also broke down what machine learning is and the processes involved in developing and delivering artificial intelligence to the world. The conversation naturally took a turn towards the potential issues and ethical concerns that are presenting themselves with AI, from verifying and authenticating identities to limiting the access and scope of this technology. I hope you enjoy listening to this episode. So hello and welcome to the Market Bull podcast. I'm your host, Ben Kostrich, and joining me on the show is Idan Schmorak, the CEO of UNITH. Welcome to the show, Idan.
Ben, thanks for having me.
For those that don't know yourself and the company, I should say that UNITH is a company focused on the advancements of AI and talk bots, and in particular, sort of creating these human digital people in a way, which is a fascinating industry, and it's only emerging now at this rapid rate through 2023 almost. But before we go into all of that information, how did you get involved in AI, and a bit of your backstory as to how you've gotten to where you are now as the CEO?
All right. Well, my background in a nutshell is over 7 years as an officer in the Israeli Air Force. This is one of those starts. Like other Israelis, when I turned 18, I went to service the country. I chose to volunteer to be an officer, and I found myself staying there in a very unique program for over 7 years. I was a part of in the mission control, in which we controlled a lot of interesting operations and worked with interesting people and technologies. Um, at that time, I was exposed to how fast and innovative technology could go in various use cases. Not only the war use case that it could come up immediately, and Israel being a very advanced nation in terms of technology. Being in the ecosystem, walking in the streets of Tel Aviv, I saw the endless opportunities, and I got involved in a few ventures. One of them was a company called VFR, which founded several tech companies and commercialized it. I found myself moving to Germany, opening an office there for them, and then COVID hit, and we took 3D creation tools for clothings, for fashion modeling, and we took this technology that until the time was something very slow, expensive, and then it involves a lot of artists in the process. And we took it and we automated it. We used advanced technologies to make it fast, quick, cheap to run, maintain, and we commercialized it. And COVID was actually good for us, as a lot of fashion brands wanted to get their fashion shows, their clothes digital, and now we were able to really help them with that, closing a large amount of deals. And somehow across that path, I came across a company called Crowd Media, which had a very interesting vision. And I've set up together with the CEO back then of Crowd a joint venture in which Crowd invested a bit of know-how and funds. And in the VFR, the Israeli side, we developed a part of this technology. The synergy was great. The vision was super interesting. And after over a year of working together, came an opportunity to go and move to Crowd, and with the blessing of VFR, for a new interesting road. And I loved working internationally with international teams, bringing innovation into Europe. As I saw that, I couldn't say no. And in September 2021, I joined Crowd. There was a lot to do in terms of optimization, in terms of cleaning up the business, and making it set for success as a tech company. And we have basically changed the entire team all the way to rebranding, from a credibility point of view, but also from a technology point of view. The company was called Crowd Media, and we've changed it to UNITH, which is a name that encapsulates really well, actually, what we do, which is unifying brands, companies with technology, and our entire brand identity is tech. We have a new website now, which is very clean, and it shows our value proposition in a very crisp way. So this is, I think, my story with UNITH in 2 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a compressed story, which is great, and I think for listeners that they really should go check out the website because it is incredible. I saw the rebrand not too long ago, and the AI and we should say artificial intelligent machines that have been created through UNIT, the next level. And especially nowadays, there's so much talk about artificial intelligence. It's sort of become a buzzword all of a sudden, in particular with the rise of ChatGPT and OpenAI, which I think people understand it a little bit, but how do you describe artificial intelligence and in particular the applications that you're using it for at UNITH?
So I think artificial intelligence is a huge field, right?
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence today, and for years, I think now it came to the headlines for from various reasons. But I think AI is in our lives anyways already. It's in our banking. It's in the way that we commute, the way that Google or Movie or these kind of apps giving us the way to work, or the way that they calculate based on millions of users or tens of thousands of users that want to take one road, how they distribute it. There is no the person that sits there and distribute the load. It's a machine that has a certain rules, and it is learning based on the rules that it's knowing in order to give the user the best outcome. And it takes difficult calculations or decision making that a human cannot make by taking a huge amount of data and take a decision upon it. A computer can do it because it can process more things than the human brain. Um, at Unith, what we're doing is we develop a technology that combines artificial intelligence, the way that a computer could take a decision or an action by itself, and machine learning, which is, I think, machine learning and artificial intelligence. I think I heard an interview from a Google executive saying it's a really fancy way to call statistics.
Mm.
And we basically take a large amount of data and we create something based on that data. In our case, we are creating digital humans. So we're exploring the human face, the human head, and creating digital humans on the basis of it. And our goal is to allow any business to create a digital replica of themselves, of the business owner, of the business presenter, and deliver crucial information to their clients using a digital human, which is the next generation of information delivery as we see it. And it's applicable in various verticals, all the way from medical to business onboarding. And we are creating a platform in which every business owner could choose a head from a library, a digital human, choose a voice or create their own. And we are able to take a picture and record 30 minutes from a human voice, from a person's voice, just using an iPhone, like I'm taking this interview on
Yeah.
a nice quality. And, and then create a conversation or upload their knowledge base, whether it's marketing or sales. And with integrating to tools like GPT, we are able to crunch all of that data and have a really smart digital employee that can communicate with coworkers or with clients.
And I mean, breaking that down, because I know the rise of ChatGPT and these incredible machines almost happened out of the blue. And it was like 2023 is the rise of AI machine learning and the power. And you can already see this all the thinking in regards to, I mean, I'm calling it the next Pandora's box of who knows where AI can go. And, you know, my dad is a big fan of Terminator and being the cynic that he is, it's like, he's like Skynet is sort of the future, which I think is a bit of an over exaggeration. But of course, there's ethical concerns and how to factor that. But going back to the uploading of data and the refining it, I know that the company has done some capital raising this year as well, and the funds are going to be used to amplify the applications and including the chat GPT. But when you're talking about, you know, just an everyday business wanting to use their database and creating this machine, and it's not now, but you know, in the near distant future, what sort of processes are involved for a company to do that?
So it's actually very simple. All you need to do is going to the platform that will launch towards the end of this calendar year. And today with businesses that we work already, and we have an agreement with a very big company that is using our services to do an internal activity. Um, it's a funnel. They click on the right and the head that they want, the voice that they want. They upload their information and they get a head that works and that gives them the service that they want. And one of the things that I tell my team, investors, myself in the mirror even, is that it needs to be really easy because
Yeah.
technology that has friction on the way to use it would be hard to adopt. And easy needs to be the name of the game that we're playing. It needs to be easy for clients to onboard, like you asked, on the service. It needs to be super easy for them and super quick and frictionless. It needs to be easy on the other side of who they want the digital human to communicate with the digital human, because this is our product and this is the core of what we're doing. And if the conversation isn't easy to have or doesn't function well, then we're doing something really wrong. And the last thing, it needs to be easy to upgrade. Our vision long term is to create a premium platform that a user could freely create a digital human that has limited abilities. And then when a user wants to upgrade their abilities, they are able to pay a non-significant amount in order to get the premium features like you do on Canva, Spotify, Netflix, no, okay, not
Yeah,
Netflix
yeah.
and more. But you get my point. And by the way, looking on the AI market, it did explode in a way in the last, let's call it 6 months.
Yeah.
But looking on GPT specifically, this is something that exists for a while. We've done experiments with GPT-3 when ChatGPT is GPT 3.5. Now there's GPT-4 launched, but we did GPT-3 experiments already a year ago. It is just more ready for mass usage now, and I think GPT showed it to the world. And it is really changing things, and it's going to really change the industries. And I think I'm not afraid to say, like other tech people in the business, this is something that is going to change the way that we work. I cannot imagine the amount of college and university students that are cheating their essays through ChatGPT. I could really only imagine what this does to the academy market and what is it is doing already to the sales market. And I know that I would consult ChatGPT with when approaching a business discussion. It would never take a decision based on my end, but it will definitely help to add opinions and discussion points because it knows everything.
And that's when you were mentioning before the applications and usage cases. And I mean, there was a South Park episode I saw where, they pretty much used ChatGPT to write an episode. And I thought it was incredibly quirky in the way that the whole episode is discussing how students are using it and no one wants to know that they're using it, but then teachers start using it. And there's that ripple effect where just everyone's using it. But then there's got to be that sort of holdback of, people like working with people, which leads itself to, I think there's two questions that I've got. But the first one will be from like uh, a a persuasion point of view. I can imagine there's a bit of holdback and resilience, or people aren't as optimistic or keen to jump into AI because they fear of these terminators and these sorts of Hollywood ideologies of what AI machine can do. And in regards to that, I mean, how would you bring people back down to reality in regards to saying that that's not necessarily the case, or persuading people that there are benefits and that's not what you see in the movies and the theater and premises like that?
Well, I think it's like other things. It's all about dosage, quantities, and the way you use it. You could drink one beer and have a good
Mm,
time, and you could you could drink a case of beers
yeah.
and have less of a good time. And same with AI. And if we look on what we are doing to eliminate concerns or failure modes, is to really close the database that we are working with. So, looking on a company, let's say you want to have your marketable followers talking with Digital Ben, we would not create a digital band based on a Google search of who you are. We would actually let you write something or use your language that we would analyze, and then we would create this character, and we would always base it on a closed database, because if you base it on an open endless database like ChatGPT does, you
Mm,
may end up with mistakes because again, this is statistics. So
Yep.
they are looking on the entire information available on the internet, and they're making their quote unquote best guess. So we don't want to do any best guesses. We would, because we're working with clients and companies, and sometimes very big companies that are very anxious on their brand identity and the information that they are delivering. It needs to be 100% correct. So we wouldn't be the one writing it. We would base on what they provide us, and we would only base on that in terms of the language, in terms of the information. And in terms of fears, yes, I can see why this is scary, because I think it's really easy to get scared of the unknown.
Yep.
And this is very freaking advanced, right? So, but again, it's all about the dosage, the quantity, and what you use it for. So, at UNITH, to mitigate the risk, and the risk is not, I'm not concerned one bit on the way that it would be used, but to mitigate the risk that clients would perceive, we close the database.
Yeah, I can imagine because just the people ideologizing or thinking what could be the worst case scenarios we tend to do. We like to focus on the negatives, and with the rise of AI, I can only ever see that people really need to be persuaded of. I mean, there are so many benefits, but it goes back to that. Yeah, how do you use it? And you'd like to say that most people have self control, and I think there's good ideas to have barriers in place to make sure that it's going through a process, and then circling back to UNITH and the applications and probably some of the clients that you're working with, what are some of the case studies that UNITH has got at the moment, and what are some of the deals or agreements in place at the moment for the company?
So the key agreements that I can refer to on looking in the 6 months back is one of the big tech company that licensed three talking heads from our technology, and they are using this for an internal activity that delivers very complicated information within the organization, and this is for them a way to apply innovation in fields that the lack of innovation, and most than anything, save time for their executives, for their employees. In a big organization, an executive, uh, for example, in finance, could find themselves explaining very simple ideas to
Mm,
other people in the organization to try and save time for him in the future. And without noticing, they spend 2 hours per week. And we take those hours and we automate them. And we create a digital human that would, on his or her behalf, carry this very complicated information. And when it comes to onboarding specifically to this information, there are some pieces of information in every organization that every employee in a department must know. Then we can also help carry that information in a clearer way with a bit more patience than the employee that does it every week, 2 hours. And also, we are able to examine to test the listener, and making sure that he actually listens, asking questions, leaving room for feedback, and leaving the conversation open. And we've applied with these talking heads a feedback mechanism to also inspect, okay, are we delivering the information in a good way, but also leaving space for question. And if there's something that the talking head didn't know, where there is the place to put your email or details, and a human gets back to you. Another partnership that we signed not so long ago is a partnership with a Swiss slash Japanese company called Enviso. They have human recognition technology based on cameras, like those cameras in a car, for example, that see if the driver is attent, where there is awake or asleep. Hopefully not asleep.
mm,
And together with them, we collaborate in order to create technology on a kiosk. Probably going to start in shopping centers, but there are other applications for that, in which, based on a client's reaction, the talking head would analyze whether the person is listening, whether he's happy, whether he's sad, and then the conversation could hold a lot of empathy. And what we discover on this journey to create digital humans, which sounds, and it is very futuristic, is
yeah.
that the thing that is hardest to replicate is empathy.
Mm,
Empathy is the skill that every good sales call, interpersonal call, friends, going on a date. This is the key of everything. And a good marketeer, like a good calling, would have empathy to the other side. And I believe that bit by bit, we would get to a place that we get our digital humans to communicate in an effective way that not only is making you laugh, understand, what they want you to get, but also understand where you are sitting, what is the other side's view, and adapt the conversation to it. This is some very complicated business, and we took a very advanced company to work with. We have done this within a European Union innovation fund. So they basically pay us to carry that vision forward, which also gives us a lot of strength because we were chosen throughout a lot of companies that applied for that. And it also gives us the capacity as a small company to carry that vision forward without hurting our end game or end vision, which is creating that self-service platform that again is there to service not only big businesses like this big tech company, because big companies from a commercial perspective take time to close, takes time to run a deal there. It took us a whole lot of time to get this agreement done, and we are looking at an addressable markets of millions of businesses because I want every small business to be able to list on that service, and this is what separates us from any competition. If there is a indirect competition out there, we address everybody, and my vision is for this to be free at first, and then you go to premium, you go and upgrade.
And that leads itself to how do you bring this technology to market? I mean, it's starting out small and getting out there and speaking with people like me, hopefully. But how do you envision getting the product out there to the masses? And in particular, are there certain demographics that you're targeting first, or is it in particular just healthcare, or are you just going anyone that can use it? We've got a data set of pretty much any company, if it's fashion, if it's car manufacturing, if it's a telephone company, whatever. It's just what is the scope for it?
No, we're starting it step by step, and we started with a very clear plan on how to improve the technology. The heads, if you go online and you Google our demos, they look good, but are not the
Mm,
most human-like out there. And there's a trade-off. The trade-off comes from the place of having a real-time one-on-one conversation. Some shareholders sometimes reach out and they ask, "Hey, what's the difference between yourself and Synthesia?" Or companies like Synthesia, which is a company that if you go to synthesia.com, you could put on a text, choose a face, choose a voice. By now, similar to what I mentioned, but in the
yeah.
end, you get a video. You get an MP4 video. It takes a few seconds, maybe a few minutes, depends on the length of the text that you're having. And that's a very different product because this is a creator platform. And what we're having is a conversational platform. And the difference is huge. And the trade-off there comes in the quality of the head that is rendered or in human words, created on real time. Um, and the path that we're going under now until the end of the year, besides establishing a platform for the long end, the signups, but it is more for improving the quality, allowing the GPT engine that we are running to work on real time. We did a demo, by the way, on our last investor webinar that worked. But in order to make a large data set work on real time, there is still work to be done. And we scoped it in a very specific way. And as you mentioned, we did a capital raise to complete the extra hires and the first path to commercialize it throughout this year. And to ask your question specifically on how and where are we going to start to commercialize it, this is the subject that we are now engaging it in. So you can't do it for everybody because you would be out of focus and you would
Yeah.
probably fail. So we're going to start vertical by vertical. One of the verticals that we're looking closely now is onboarding. We're doing some product market fit actions in order to validate that this is the right one. The next step after that would be to train our AI machine learning models to support that, because a conversation with a marketeer is not the same as a conversation with a digital marketeer. It's not the same as a conversation with a digital salesperson, or definitely not the digital finance guy or girl. So we need to train those specific models, and then we would go to market actions that would allow us to, from one end, from the quote unquote enterprise or B2B side, to just onboard clients by hand with our business team, with our commercial team. But from the other end, start and doing mass marketing and for people that are in those disciplines. In the terms of B2B, we would probably look on platforms like LinkedIn or their Google searches. We would target those. We would show them the value of what is that we can bring them. And with that, we would be able to acquire users. There is a learning curve, and it is all scoped. And I think that what we've learned is, in our funny beast that we are as a public company slash a startup, is that we need to be very focused and planned. And the entire organization, after the restructure that we've done in the last 18 months, is really calibrated to do so.
Okay. And I mean, there's so much going on, and I mean the rise, as I keep alluding to, of AI. It's not really going anywhere, and it's going to be this completely revolutionary technology that has been there for a while, but is now getting the spotlight, and clearly it's just going to get more and more efficient. And I mean, from a devil's advocate point of view, it's sort of, I mean, the main thing is authenticating and proving who someone is, and I mean, the question that I've been thinking about a lot is, if you can make these digital humans, for example, of anyone, and I mean, I'm sure there's going to be restraints on who can create it and why, but could there be, or do you see that there's going to be a need to sort of make sure you can authenticate exactly who the people are before they start using this technology as well? Otherwise, I mean, you can see it now. They've got the memes of impersonating presidents, and I mean, it seemed like a funny meme of them playing a video game. But then, if you think if people can be bad and evil, is if they use that to their wrong intentions, there can be some decent outcomes occurring from that. So, what are your thoughts on developing that authentication and security side of AI as well?
It's a very the question is on the spot. It's something that we've been handling within our mind more than everything throughout the year and a half, 2 years that we're developing this. And well, first there is the legal side, and from the legal side that we are covered. The users are having they are the responsible ones on the information carried because this is their information based on a closed data set, and it's not only for us to not make mistakes. It's also for us to be legally bulletproof. But from the ethical side, and this is something we've mentioned before, and this is a question, by the way, that comes a lot in the European markets and from
Mm,
European investors when it comes to privacy, which is very evolved. The perception of privacy, online privacy. In Germany, it's called the Datenschutz, the market, the data protection law. Very extensive, definitely compared to United States, Australia, or Israel,
mm,
where it's barely existent. Then the concern whether my identity is protected, whether can my neighbor, which I had a dispute with, could take my face and do some racist conversation
yeah,
based on my face and voice. This is a risk. So that we are looking on ways to mitigate that risk. And in the way that I see Unit as a company that would grow and it would have millions of users, an ethics department is something that we would never it's something that we could not avoid from having. I think this is
yeah,
something crucial in the entire in the entire sphere of AI companies. I think every big company would need an ethical department, whether it would be inside the legal department or even in the product department, which is a kind of if I would tell my product manager that in the company of thousands of people that we would have in 5 years, he would have an ethical someone on his head. He would get a heart attack. But I think this is the place for them to be because ethics need to be integrated, especially when we are getting more and more human-like
yeah,
with across the entire span of the product, from the voice to the face to the conversation to the user interaction and how it takes. If a user smiles in Germany, it's not the same if a user smile in Japan, and we need to see that the humans are treating the users in the right way, the digital humans.
yeah.
So this is something that would evolve over time. Luckily or not luckily enough, we're still not there in terms of the human likeness. But already now, when there is it is very clear to the user that they're speaking with a digital human. Because it comes a day, not so far away from now,
No,
that they don't know whether they're talking
exactly.
with you and me or the digital you and me. And
Yeah.
it's for us, and this is something that would always be from us, would be to make sure that it's super clear that you're talking to a digital human based on AI and not an actual human.
No, I think that's a very valid point, and it's that roller coaster, which is now, as I keep saying, AI, and you look to social media and how that completely transformed the world, and I see this as the next almost giant scale approach of AI, and I think there's so many benefits and so many applications, and there will be those considerations that need to be made. And it's good to hear that yourself and Unith, I can imagine, have got a lot of these conversations going on rapidly. But from back to the company point of view, you've got we're approaching the halfway point of this year or the end of the financial year. But how do you see Unith as positioned for the later half of this year and even into 2024 sort of objectives, goals, and timelines?
So we're looking on it from a few factors. We didn't talk about it one bit at all, but Unit has another department, a subscription department that is 90 something percent out of our entire revenue. And it's a historical department that the company has for years. based in Amsterdam, and we basically create apps and we monetize them through mobile subscription plans. And this is a market that has changed a lot in the last year. So together with that and with the with our startup with the core of UNITH, the talking head, the digital human platform, the goal in the next until the end of this year is to completely have a reform. And the reform is um, we finalize developing the platform. We start commercializing it to see that we are targeting the right markets and to learn the markets and to penetrate those markets as the new year starts. And from the subscription department we have completely changed the way that we acquire users. And there's a lot of investment going into there, not from it's a profitable department. So in order to increase the profits, we've recognized some key opportunities in that market, and we took those profits and we've turned them into an investment into the future. And the future looks very interesting. And this is a process that in the end, I hope in the next financial year, Unit is going to be a completely different company in terms of revenues, not only from the new channels, but also from the existing channels, because this industry of mobile subscription and premium SMS that might be shrinking still is very big, and there is a lot of money to be made there. And we as Unit are, in my view as the CEO, is for the company to be set for success on all sides, bottom to top, top to bottom, across departments. And we took some hard decisions in terms of personnel, in terms of know-how, in terms of how the organization is even running and what is the organizational culture, the language, in order to position us to be in a very different place in financial year 2024. So we are now are doing a lot of heavy lifting in the basics of everything that we do across all departments, and the goal is to have a more profound, deep product that we already use and we already commercialize, but we want a more whole picture in which we can adapt according to market needs. And as I say a lot, we still do not know what we do not know. And the market is going to change, and the demand is going to change. And there is no doubt the conversational AI is going to be a huge market. But whether it's going to work in onboarding or marketing, we do not, but we do know that we need to develop the underlying technology that would allow us to own everywhere, to succeed everywhere that we are trying to hit. And the organization needs to be built smart, and the processes needs to be agile and quick for us to be able to take a quick decision whether something works. Should we expand into it, or whether something works less good? Okay, we need to go somewhere else.
Shift.
So
Mm.
to shift, exactly, to pivot, as we
Yeah.
say in this
Yeah. To be
industry.
nimble and
And
adjust.
exactly, so we're agile, we're quick, squid, we're young, and this is something that really changed in the organization. I already talked about them, and everybody's really energized, incentivized, and motivated to keep this going. Looking on 2023, I think 2023 is clearly the year change. We have changed almost everything. And looking on the financials, we have strengthened ourselves with $4.5 million on a capital raise done in February. And we have just we have allowed our shareholders, and we invited them to participate in a securities purchase plan, an SPP. And we have closed it on Monday. We're talking in April 5th. It was
Mm.
closed on the 3rd. And it was subscribed in $271,000, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So we really financially set in a very calm way, and I'm actually very happy that we did it when we did it. And a private placement is always a difficult decision because you dilute shareholders. Nobody
Yeah.
always likes it, and then
Yeah.
and in a public company, nobody you can't get the 100% support rate in everything that you do, but you want to have the organization set for success and set for flexibility. So this amount allows us to develop technology in the way that we want it. It's still, by the way, a relatively low amount to work with when you look at technology, and when you look in, we are an international company and we hire international talent to develop technology that does not exist. So we need to do something which is new, and we are swimming in unexplored waters, unexplored territories, and we discovered that with a very capable team, which is now funded in a very, very good way. In the way that we manage it, we work on a very low cost base in order to be set for success. So we're financially very, very stable and really ready for this challenge.
I think we mentioned before we started, a transformational year with yourself coming on board and this new drive and energy moving away from crowd media to now UNITH and this whole embodiment of this incredible new company with youth and drive and vision. And it's a really exciting time. And I mean, personally, I've got a lot of time to listen to AI and machine learning and just the whole new digital world, Web3. There's so many areas that have already been there, but are now going to get a time of day. And your crypto and NFTs and all of this, I think people are very quick to neglect it and shrug it off instead of actually listening and understanding its applications. And when you do sit down with, a person like yourself and you realize, geez, the applications and that it's not a future thought, it's here and now and it's going to be applied and get ready because it's going to be an incredible application with challenges to handle along the way. But for listeners that want to get in contact and learn more about UNITH, where can they go? And I mean, the website is an incredible resource, which again, I've been on and it is amazing and it's new, but where can people get information from?
So we are across all social media. So really Twitter, even TikTok. We even have a TikTok account
Yeah.
now. And Instagram and everything. So just unit.ai or unit.com. We get all the domains. We use the AI because we're an artificial intelligence company. And we really invite everybody to communicate. And through the website, they can communicate with us directly. If shareholders or potential clients, they go to me. I always answer. And it's a part, by the way, of the rebranding. We are a very transparent company. And this, as we grow, it's of course harder for me to communicate with everybody.
Yeah.
But I sure do try. And and transparency and and being honest towards this is where we are, this is what we're doing, especially in market like today. And as you said, the world is changing to the good and to the bad, and AI is taking more and more place in everywhere. And also the capital markets are changing, and it's not easy to be a tech company anymore.
No.
And money isn't growing on the trees, and there's no more free money, and the interest rates go up, and capital markets are changing, and it's even harder to be a public tech company, and it's even twice as harder to be a nano cap tech company in the
Yeah.
Australian Stock Exchange, which isn't the natural place for a tech company to be in. So we work across all of these challenges, which some of them, like anything in life, is a blessing and a curse. And we make lemonade out of these lemons, and we try to put ourselves in the most safe place, which is risk mitigated and responsible to our shareholders. And every morning, I remind myself and my team that we are there to bring good return for our shareholders. And to do that, we also listen to them. So everybody that reach out, they know that I answer. And so this is a great way to reach out to us, to myself, and either me or someone from my team, which is great, would answer.
No, thank you. I mean, the whole insights that you've shared on UNITH today has been incredible. And I mean, yeah, personally, I'm very excited to hopefully speak with you again in the future and find out the advancements and the changes and the evolutions, because it is going to be such a fascinating new sector that is emerging, or at least getting, front and center stage, right presence. Like it's here and it's now. It's get ready for it, get excited. So thank you for taking the time to speak with me on the show. And yeah, hopefully have you back soon.
Thanks, Ben. I appreciate the call, and thanks for everything. And have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for listening to the Market Bull podcast. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow the Market Bull on our socials at Twitter and LinkedIn by searching The Market Bull. You can also subscribe to our newsletter on the website by visiting www.themarketbull.com.au.